When we ended the show yesterday, Adam Schefter was on Pat McAfee, and he said that Terry McLaurin wanted more than DK Metcalf. He said significantly more. We're just going to say more than DK Metcalf, who gets $33 million a year from Pittsburgh. A few hours after the show concluded, the Denver Broncos signed Courtland Sutton to a 4-year extension, and the entire conversation changed. When we talked about Adam Schefter's reporting that Terry wanted just as much, if not more, than DK Metcalf, skepticism is what that was met with. Saying, I don't know. I like Terry. If you want to have a conversation about Terry being on the same plane or same tier, rather, as DK Metcalf, I would entertain that conversation. I might lean in the direction of Terry, not a massive lean, but a lean, because I think that DK Metcalf is a really good player as well. So if you want to lean in the direction of Terry, you can do that. Terry is definitely a better player than Courtland Sutton. There's no doubt in my mind about that. He ain't $10 million a year better than Courtland Sutton, though. When Sutton signs a 4-year, $92 million extension, any bit of leverage, which admittedly was minimal, but any bit of leverage that the Commanders had, or that Terry McLaurin had, swung immediately back in the direction of the Commanders, because Courtland Sutton is now getting in the neighborhood of about $23 million per year as he enters his age 29 and 30 season. He turns 30 a month after Terry McLaurin, so he will spend at least a couple of weeks of the 2025 season at the age of 29 before he turns 30 in October. But he's about the same age as Terry McLaurin, and his numbers last year were very similar to that of Terry McLaurin. Now, if you take the numbers out of it, and you're not just looking exclusively at numbers, there's not a lot of people that are going to tell you that Courtland Sutton is better than Terry McLaurin. Nuances to the game, timing of some of these numbers, right? Terry had multiple game-winning touchdown receptions last season, could have had another one if they didn't kick to Turpin against Dallas off of what was Hail Mary number 2, although less of a Hail Mary, just late score. But you understand, you know the play. Everybody knows the play I'm talking about. Terry is better than Courtland Sutton, but how much better is he financially? Because I was running numbers. I tweeted this yesterday. You can follow me on Twitter at the Denton Day. I tweeted this yesterday. If Courtland Sutton is getting $23 million per season, I could comfortably say that I would give Terry McLaurin at least 27 to 28, factoring in that I, one, just think that Terry is a better player, and two, understand that Terry is beloved here in Washington, and he is a part of what it means to be a Commander, something that the front office and the coaching staff stressed to the moon last year when it talked about roster building. Throughout the course of the season, when guys were stepping up, they talked about, it's so great to have guys on this roster that are Commanders. So when you factor that Terry is what you want as a Commander, I would give him $27 to $28 million. Prior to the Courtland Sutton deal, I was thinking in the neighborhood of 30 to 31. Maybe 32, would not have gone higher than 32, would not have gone higher than DK Metcalf. I don't know the timing, or not the timing, rather. I know the timing. I don't know who told Adam Schefter about that 33 number. Was it the team? Was it Terry's agent? If it was the team, this is a calculated strike of, we're going to say that he's asking for an insane amount of money, knowing that Courtland Sutton is not going to get anywhere near that amount of money, and there are some comparisons that you are going to make. In fact, there's more comparisons that you can make between Terry and Sutton than there is Terry and DK, especially based off of the age. So I don't know if that was Adam Peters and the front office giving Adam Schefter a little nugget of information, realizing that he goes on Pat McAfee. I think Schefter's a regular on Mondays. I don't really watch the Pat McAfee show, so I don't know, but I think he's a regular on Mondays. knowing that Schefter's going to take this information, and even if he's not, he's going to take this information and go public with it anyway. If anything, he would just tweet the thing. But knowing that Schefter is going to run with this. So it could have been a calculated strike from the Commanders. It also could have been a calculated decision from the agent, Buddy Baker. If that was the case, you want to talk about egg on the face. You're looking like an idiot now.
Well, and that's the thing is like the Eastern Motors presser it ran about, I want to say 20 minutes too long.
20 minutes, 25 minutes, something there.
So it would be, if it was Buddy Baker that put this information out here, it would be a long line of decisions that have just kind of shot yourself in the foot.
And we don't know that it was Buddy, so I just want to be clear on that. This is
purely
not
speculative.
Like, hey, we think it was him. But I don't believe that Adam Schefter is just going to make up that particular number, that nugget of information, and just run with it without talking to somebody. He had to get that information from somebody. But this makes the team look really, really good. Because if you've been trying to pay him 25, 26, 27, 28 million dollars, and they're dug in on this 33 number, you point to Courtland Sutton and say, well, if he's getting this and he's asking for this, why on earth are you asking for more than like there is nothing that Terry has statistically that would suggest he should be getting paid $33 million. Just because Pittsburgh was silly to sign DK Metcalf to that contract doesn't mean that you as Washington, speaking from their perspective, that you as Washington also need to pay your guy that money. The worst thing that has happened that I'm very glad that our organization is not falling for is the constant need to reset the market. Like there was a 4 or 5 year period where things got a little insane to the point where like a DK gets a $33 million. Like you could argue when Justin Jefferson reset the market, he's a top 2 wide receiver in the NFL. He should reset the market. When CeeDee Lamb didn't quite reset the market, but was in that echelon, you can point to CeeDee Lamb and the season he had just had. And as much as we don't like him, statistically, you point to and say he is deserving of that particular contract. When Jamar Chase reset the market after having a Triple Crown season, you're like, yeah, duh, best receiver in football. He deserves $40 million a year. DK getting that money was a little obtuse, little short-sighted from Pittsburgh. They just needed a wide receiver. At that point, while we didn't know for sure that Aaron Rodgers was going to go to Pittsburgh, I'm pretty sure they had an idea that Aaron Rodgers was going to go to Pittsburgh. You got to get Aaron Rodgers a wide receiver, or else why the hell is he going to be there, right? So they're being a little obtuse with that. Adam Peters and the front office here realizing that just because they are overpaying doesn't mean we have to overpay. And this is why you hire an analytics team. You can take in the intangibles that Terry has as being a commander, but when Courtland Sutton gets $23 million a year, there's not a lot of statistical numbers that would suggest that Terry is $10 million per season better than Courtland Sutton. And you are not going to overpay your guy $10 million because of the intangibles. If it's, hey, we think he's $3 million better, but because he's been such a good steward to this franchise, because he's so impactful to this franchise, and the locker room qualities and traits that he has are so important, we'll take that $3 million and we will add another $2 million or $1.5 million, something in that ballpark, to where he's getting $27 to $28 million. That would be something that I say, yes, that's the perfect way of doing this. He shouldn't be getting 33, but 28 is perfect. And if you're Terry and they're offering you $28 million, you would be foolish to not take the $28 million. And if you are the agent, Buddy Baker, and there's a $27 to $28 million offer on the table and you are not taking it, it is foolish to not take that offer. If it's $25 million and you're asking for 30, hoping to meet in the middle of 27, then keep this going on. This holdout, be in front of the fans, sign autographs. Hey, look how important I am to this organization, to this fan base. If you're just trying to get it up from 25 to 27, keep going that route. Eventually, I think you could get $27 million. But if you're under the belief that this, hey, I'm going to walk out when practice is done, I'm going to sign autographs for 30 minutes in the blazing heat, I'm going to be out there, make sure I'm on camera doing all these things. If you're going to do all that in the hopes that you're getting $33 million, my brothers in Christ, you got to reevaluate your strategy, because that's not going to get you there. And at a certain point, there has to be a come to Jesus moment. I don't often side with the team with most things, But there has to be a come to Jesus moment with Terry McLaurin and his camp and realize no matter how good you are this season, it doesn't matter. You could go for 2,000 yards. He won't, but you could go for 2,000 yards. No matter how good you are this season, there is not a better contract that is going to be waiting for you in terms of the AAV next year. There's not. You're going to be a 30-year-old wide receiver entering your age 31 season, and the potential of getting a contract better than what Washington is offering you. I can't imagine the Commanders are going to offer him a better contract next year than they would this year in terms of guarantees, in terms of AAV, because of what I just said. So then you would have to test the open market. There is not a team out there that is going to value Terry McLaurin as much as Washington would that also presents him an opportunity to win. It's the unfortunate reality of the situation that he is in right now. The best deal is going to come from Washington because they're not trading you. And there's no one in the NFL right now, as much as people will blast our comment section on our YouTube, will blast my mentions on Twitter at the Denton Day, there is no team out there that is going to trade for Terry right now, give up any sort of legitimate asset, draft pick or player, to Washington and then immediately pay him more than what Washington has on the table while still being considered a contender. It's not going to happen. You can throw me the Patriots, Saints. I've seen like the Steelers, the Chargers. Take your pick. None of them are going to trade an asset that would make Washington be willing to give up Terry McLaurin and then pay Terry McLaurin more than what Washington is going to pay him in an extension. His best value is here because of the being a Commander, because of the years that he has meant to this franchise. You leave and go somewhere else, that boost, that raise is not coming with a contract extension. And no one is going to pay, unfortunately, a 31-year-old guy $30 million per year. It's not going to happen. So there needs to be a real conversation. And again, we don't know what's on the table. Like maybe Washington is lowballing him. Maybe they're also offering 4 years, $92 million. And if that's the case, the agent is in a good spot because Terry McLaurin, again, is better than Courtland Sutton and provides something to this particular organization that maybe Courtland Sutton does not to Denver. I don't know how he's loved in Denver. I have no idea. I'm not going to speculate on how Courtland Sutton is loved in Denver, but I know how Terry is loved here. So you have that in your back pocket to get a little bit more money than what Denver is giving Courtland Sutton, but you're not getting $10 million per year better than what Denver gave to Courtland Sutton. So I've been mentioning this Adam Schefter clip. If you missed it yesterday and you don't live vicariously on social media the way that I do, we're going to play it for you now just so you could hear what Adam Schefter said. This was Schefter on Pat McAfee yesterday talking about Terry and the desires of his new contract.
DK Metcalf was the same draft class as Terry McLaurin. He got about $33 million a year. I wouldn't think that Terry is willing to take less than that, and I think he wants considerably more than that. Now, what it comes in at, we'll wind up seeing. Washington, they're not there right now, and they love and value Terry McLaurin, but they love and value him at a different price. So they seem, these two sides right now seem apart on the deal. Like they don't seem close today, and I don't know how they're going to get that resolved and figured out, but these things usually find a way of working themselves out over time. But as of today, I don't get the sense that anything's close.
I don't know if Adam Schefter knew that Courtland Sutton was going to be signed like an hour and a half, 2 hours after he said that. But he said that Terry wants more than DK Metcalf. He's not going to get more than DK Metcalf. DK is 2 years younger than him. You can look at the way that DK, his size and his speed, and say you get something out of that. Unfortunately, Terry's like DK is literally a behemoth. He's like 6'3", chiseled out of stone. Terry's like 6 foot. So there's a difference in that. But him getting $33 million, Terry is not going to get $33 million. And there's nothing between now and the start of the season that would make it so he is going to get $33 million. Because at this point, you know who he is as a player, and you're arguing numbers and contracts and how that works in the NFL where he stands. And this Courtland Sutton, any hope that he had, which again, admittedly was not a lot, to surpass the DK Metcalf contract, any hope that Terry had just got completely speared by the Courtland Sutton deal. The question now becomes, how much should Terry McLaurin get? We know what Courtland Sutton's getting. We know what DK Metcalf is getting. There's a balance in between those two numbers. What should that number be?